We have already discussed a lot of health-related topics, but now let's speak about communication. Communication and sexual communication is a huge topic. I have to highlight two most important topics about communication. So the first one is dating culture. How can we approach the person we like? How can we flirt? How we can be rejected and how to overcome this rejection. And the second one is consent. What is consent? How can we give consent? How can we receive consent? What is considered to be a consent and what is not? I won't lie, approaching someone is a very stressful event, mostly because we're afraid to be rejected. What happens when we're getting rejected? We start to think that we are getting rejected because we're not good enough. We start to compare ourselves with all other world. But the truth is, if you approach someone, you're already a very brave person, and you got rejected, it tells nothing about you. It tells that you probably weren't the right person for this particular person in these conditions. It doesn't define you as a person at all. So sometimes we try to overcome this fear of rejection, which is completely normal thing, with two strategies. The first strategy, we're trying to be super aggressive, super pushy, and we try to approach potential partner with all force we have. It could be tricky because instead of the position human, we come to the position hunter and a prey. And you start to communicate not with this person, but more a role play that you express a lot of interest and this person needs to answer you to this interest. So actually this strategy steals this human connection from you. And it also makes you feel like you and a potential partner are from different spaces and you have different, very rigid roles you are working in. If you know that you have a tendency towards this strategy, try to remember always that in front of you is an equal person with her or his fears, desires, ambitions, interests. And all these topics are much more interesting to discuss from human and human position than from hunter and a prey position. The second strategy we use to overcome rejection is when we stop trying to approach people. We close ourselves in our world because this rejection can be very painful. And although it's a very logical thing to do and we try to avoid pain, we actually give the control for our dating success to the hands of universe. And we stop controlling our dating process. And we stop exploring it. We stop developing in it. And we start to just wait for some magic to happen. Sometimes this magic happens. But not having control over this magic could be tricky. If you understand that you closed yourself in a room and have no desire to go out and talk to people, you don't want to communicate with anyone because you are afraid of rejection, know that this rejection is a painful but very limited feeling, while joy from being accepted is a very big and important part of your life. And you will definitely get this acceptance by surpassing several rejections. What happens when you're getting rejected? When you're getting rejected, your brain tells you that you are not good enough, smart enough, interested enough, whatever, and leads you to avoidant behavior. How you can make it constructive? How can you make it helpful? When you are getting rejected, know that it's not about you. It's about the person who made this decision. So you are good enough, tall enough, interested enough. It's just this person doesn't want it right now. It's like, I love coffee, but sometimes I don't want coffee. It doesn't say anything about coffee. Coffee is just a drink. So how can we need to perceive rejection to make it feel better? Let's try to think about how we can get this rejection in a positive way. You got rejected. Stop analyzing yourself based on the fact that you got rejected. It's not about you. It's about the decision of this person. And then try again. Don't go down in your emotional response about that you are not good enough. And just try again with another person. So ban yourself from negative attitudes about you when you are just not a good fit for someone else. You are definitely a good fit for someone. And the most important thing is that you are comfortable with yourself. If you're comfortable with yourself, go ahead and try to find someone who will accept you. Let's talk about what happens when we overcame this scary part of approaching some person. What can happen? Like, all good things that could happen. I'm going to talk with you about bad things that could happen. Can happen what's called toxic flirt. Toxic flirting is when someone, even if he or she is interested in you, they try to pretend that they're not interested in you. All this, oh no, go away. If this happens, don't play this game. Just go away. If the person is unable to express interest in you, to express mutual interest in you, you are definitely worth something much better than this. So, first thing first, if someone tells you, go away, even if you think that it's not what she or he really thinks, go away. You definitely deserve someone who will be interested in you, just as you are interested in the person. And now let's talk about consent. Actually, this toxic flirting was a first stage to speak about consent. Consent is a golden rule of any communication, and it's a diamond rule when we are speaking about sexual communication. Consent protects you from not doing something your partner is not comfortable with. I'm 100% sure that when you are building some kind of interaction, you want your partner to be interested, enthusiastic, and positive about what you are doing with him or her. Consent is when to your direct question about kiss, about hug, about sexual interaction, the person tells you yes. What can it be? It can be, can I hug you? Yes, please. It can be, can I kiss you? And the person shows you his or her cheeks. Better if she or he also tells you yes. But actually, if you have some nonverbal, very clear key about the interest this person has towards you, go ahead. If the person doesn't respond to you anything, or tells you no, or tells you I don't know, or tells you whatever else which you don't consider as strictly positive, remember that you deserve much better. You deserve to be wanted. At the same time, your potential partner's desires should be respected and should be taken into consideration. So, what is consent? Consent is when someone is definitely positive about what you're gonna do. And it's very important to ask for consent and to express consent, because it's not only that you need to approach someone and someone needs to respond to you. It's also that you can be approached and you need to be responsive, and you need to say, yes, of course, I would love to, or you can say, no, I'm not interested in this right now. And both of these conditions should be respected. So what is positive response? Positive response is yes, yes, please, or some very clear nonverbal cue. What is negative response? Is I don't know, I don't care, no, maybe no, silence. All these things which are not considered as a definitely yes is definitely no. One more important thing about consent is that when the person is drunk, when the person is sleeping, when the person doesn't control him or herself, this person cannot give you consent. All sexual activity, all relationships activity need to be desired, and drunk person or sleeping person cannot give you consent. And even if drunk person or sleeping person saying you yes, this person cannot be responsible for him or her. Let's make it straight. When you want to do something, when you want to kiss someone, when you want to touch someone, when you want to hug someone, when you want to have a sexual intercourse with someone, you need to offer it and to listen to the response. And you need to be able to make a clear distinction between positive and negative response. And neutral response is always a negative response. And drunk or sleeping people cannot give you consent. Under the video, I will give you the link which will help you to understand consent better. Okay, this was the last video of our course. Thank you so much for being with us. In this course, we try to cover all topics that will help you to feel more comfortable in your sexual life and avoid most common mistakes. We definitely have more detailed course that will help you to prevent and resolve any sexual problem you can have in your life, that will help to upgrade your sexual skill set from medium to proficient level. So subscribe to our YouTube channel and hopefully see you in our next course.